What is a tiger? What is a blue bar? Are they the same thing? What's up, YouTube? So, long story short, they are the same thing. But how do we get to having tiger and blue bar out in the world, a vast, not really a bunch of morphs, but unlike other species of animals, but there are a lot of morphs. But how do we end up with two names for the same morph? Well, about 28 years ago, so let me give you the runaround before I get to that point. So 2023, I got a message from one of the breeders that has been around for about 30 years, and they essentially told me, hey, what you are describing there is a tiger. So this video that I had posted in 2023, it was a reel on Instagram and Facebook where I had listed out one of my dragons as a yellow blue bar. Now, yellow blue bar is a correct term based off what it is, but based off who created it and based off how it became a morph, they're actually called citrus tigers. Now, how do we get to blue bar and tiger? All right. So in 1997, this is the story that I was given from that breeder. So if you don't know who Dragon Tails is, her name is Tammy. She is a great breeder. Been around for a long time. So if you are looking for any citrus dragons whatsoever, she produces some of the best. Now, in 1997, this is a story that she told me. 1997, she had created a tiger. Now, back then, bearded dragons did not look like they look now. So back then, she created a tiger from normal-looking bearded dragons. Now, almost every bearded dragon has some kind of tiger marking. It's just the extremity of how much tiger marking there is that creates a tiger look. So essentially, 1997, she was breeding and she found that there was some tiger striping in some bearded dragons, and she started selective breeding. Eventually, she created an orange tiger, and eventually she created a citrus tiger from selective breeding. The thing is, other people were also buying dragons off of her, exporting them to Europe, exporting them all over the world, and also buying them here in the United States. She didn't give me any details on who did this and who bought them from her, but apparently somebody bought them from her and started calling them blue bars. And by doing that, now you have created two names for the same thing. So blue bars is the same thing as tiger, and tiger was the original name for this morph. However, if you go on Morph Market, you will see that both of them are available. And more people label them as blue bar than they label them as tiger because they don't know any better. So this is why I decided to make this video. Obviously, I've made a lot of videos about the history of bearded dragons, but this one is honestly a touchy subject because you have a division on both sides of what this is. Because tiger and blue bar essentially are the same thing, but the correct term is tiger. This is a line bred trait, so almost every single dragon since 1997 that has been bred from this line has some kind of blue barring into the bearded dragon. So a lot of citrus dragons have tiger in their lineage. Now, the thing is, now we have blue bar, now we have tiger. This is a story. I have a dragon that's wanting to get out because she don't want to eat right now, so I'm forcing her to eat by putting her with roaches because she'd rather run away from the roaches, and I don't like that. So I'm forcing her. You're probably like, why are you forcing them? Well, she's not eating, and if she doesn't want to eat actively, then I'm trying to force her, and if that doesn't work, then we'll see what's going on with her. Back to the tigers. So this person that bought tigers from Tammy and called them blue bars essentially also told people that wanted to work with the tiger gene or the tiger line that they needed to buy dragons from Tammy, causing a huge ordeal because they were the same line of bearded dragons. So essentially, there was inbreeding happening because of that. So back then, they talked it out and started calling everything tiger, but there were still people out there calling them blue bars because of that mishap. So now we end up with both terms for the same morph. What is the correct term? The correct term is tiger because the person that originated the morph or created the morph essentially called it tiger. Now, obviously, with a lot of morphs out there that are not necessarily genetic, they are line bred. At the beginning, people call them different things because more people are working with it than just one. Because usually what happens with line bred traits, one person is working in the line, they start selling bearded dragons or animals from that line, and essentially other people start working with the same line before that person can coin the term tiger. So that happens with a lot of different things. We'll talk about other line bred traits that have different names as we get through the history of bearded dragons. But essentially, that is how we came to have blue bar and tiger. So because tiger is a line bred trait, and I've already said that a lot of citrus dragons out there also have tiger in them. You will also see red bearded dragons with tiger in them, orange bearded dragons with tiger in them. The thing is, there are people out there that seem to think that tiger and blue bar are not the same thing. That one of them is a pattern morph and the other one is a line bred trait, when they are the exact same thing. To be honest, I don't understand people. How can someone look at a bearded dragon that has blue barring and say that's blue bar, and then look at a bearded dragon that has tiger stripes and say that's tiger stripes, and not call them the same thing? They look identical. They are the exact same thing. But for some reason, people seem to think this is the case, and I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. But if you're the person that seems to think tiger and blue bar are not the same thing, figure it out, because obviously no one can help you. No one can help you if you can't figure it out just by visually looking at the animal and seeing they look exactly the same from blue bar to tiger. That was my little rant for the video. Now, going on to today, because of what happened 20 years ago, almost 30 years ago, we are in a dilemma where people are calling things blue bar and people are calling things tiger. Are we ever going to get this fixed? Probably not. Because as I've already said, when someone coins the term, there's probably another person working on the same thing, calling it a different thing until they figure out they have the same thing, and then they determine what route they're going to take. But the problem with that is, during that time where they're trying to figure it out, there's other people that have bought dragons from blue bar lines and tiger lines that are now calling them whatever they figured where they were going to be calling them. And now there's blue bar tigers, or blue bars, and there's tigers out there because that's where they bought them from. And essentially that's where our big flaw is right now. We are not getting on the same page about a lot of morphs, and therefore we have a lot of people calling different things, or calling the same thing different things, and explaining how certain morphs work. Even though there's only one way that morph works, people are explaining it differently because that's what they believe based off what they've been told. And yeah, we have to get on the same page. Not only do we have to get on the same page, but all the research and all the resources out there, they have to get on the same page too, which takes a lot of effort. So therefore, that's partially why I'm making all these videos, why I have over 300 videos on YouTube, because I am tired of explaining the same thing to people, and then they are essentially not listening, or they argue with me. So I'm just going to put it out there. If you want to argue with me, there's a comment section below. Do what you got to do. But if you agree with me, there's a comment section below. Do what you got to do. If you want to fight on my behalf, go for it. You got to do what you got to do, right? But there are a lot of people out there that call tigers tigers, blue bars, and there's people out there that could care less and interchange the name every time they have a dragon. Like, I didn't care. To be honest, whenever I started breeding, that was way before my time. I was just calling it what I heard, and I was calling them tiger, and I was calling them blue bar. And honestly, whenever I sell an animal, I say tiger/blue bar, because there's people that call it one thing and people that call it a different thing, and I'll just put both on there because it doesn't even matter to me. But obviously, I want to make sure that everyone knows how it originated, how this came to be, and what the correct term is, because tiger is the correct term, essentially. So the main thing about it is, just get on the same page. I guess that's really the whole thing. Get on the same page. If the big breeders could do it back then when they were trying to figure it out, they got on the same page. But obviously, it was a little too late because blue bar was already out there and they were spreading its lines. But they got on the same page. Why can't we get on the same page? If they already figured it out in the early 2000s, late 1990s, oh my goodness. Every time I hear somebody say that was born in the 2000s, in the 1900s, I feel like a stab in my heart, because I'm a 90s baby. Like, that's crazy to me, to be honest. But yeah, we're old now. But with all that said, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that I put out in the future. As always, peace.